So, good morning, everybody. So, my name is Salim, for those who don't know me, and you'll soon be meeting Rahib. And today's workshop is all about Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is probably the world's most popular word formatting platform that's used extensively by lots of people. But a lot of people who are using it every day are using just sometimes the basic functions. It's much more powerful than we realize. So, the whole idea of today's workshop is that we're going to go through and start developing some advanced features around Word so that you can make your life easier and more exciting when you're using this document. I'm sure you're all at different abilities, so bear with us because we're probably going to speed through some of these advanced features as we talk. So what I'm going to do now is hand over to Rahib, who will take over the rest of the workshop. So Rahib, good morning and over to you.
Morning, Salim. Thank you. Hi, guys. I hope everyone's doing well today, and I hope everyone can hear me fine. Okay, I'll be sharing my screen with you. Can you tell me if you can't see my screen? I'm sharing a Microsoft Word document with you guys. Can everybody see it? Oh, keep the chat open just in case. Okay. As you can see, we have just a normal document open right now, and it hasn't been edited. Hello, can you hear me?
Hi Rahib, we can hear you okay.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so like I said, I've just opened up a template document so that with no formatting done whatsoever, so that we can walk through it and do bits of formatting so that you guys can see what different options we have available on Microsoft Word. You can see all the text on this is similar. The text fonts are similar, the text sizes are similar. What we're going to start with, the first line with the first name and the last name. What we're going to do here is going to come to the fonts over here in this box and have a look at it. As I start scrolling down, you can see it will start changing. It will show you the font, what it's going to look like, and you can select based on your preference. Let's say I go for Georgia. When we change it, you can see it has changed and the rest of the text hasn't changed yet. So that way we'll just change the first line on this document. Now, about the size, we can change the font size from here. As you can see, once I start scrolling, it will show me what size do I need. And I can, stop at whatever size I'm comfortable with, let's say. And there is another option as well. Let's say, if you see these two buttons, small AAs, they change the size as well, bit by bit. If you click this one, to start increasing the size, and let's say if you start decreasing, you just need to click on the next one to it and it will start decreasing, and you can just stop it whenever you're comfortable. So I'm gonna pick up 20, actually let's say 24 for the thing. And let's say these ones, we can again change the font as we did previously, Arial, Times New Roman, whichever you're comfortable with. You can keep scrolling down, whatever you fancy. And with the sizes, again, we can just change it with these two buttons very easily. There's another option, as you can see, this box called Styles. This is a new option they've added in from 2016 and 2019. So if you use this option, let me show you what you need to do. Let's say we just select the first line again. If you click on this button, it will open up and you can see it shows you what the content should be like, the emphasis, like normal text, the title should be, and if you have a subtitle, name, headings, different side of styles, just ready to be used. Let's say I use heading 1. If I wanted to on this document, it will easily just change it without me going into fonts or changing the size of it. It will automatically do it. You can tweak these styles up to your preferences, but that will depend on the person. Let's jump on to a different one. Let's say we have this text, and let's say these texts. These are descriptions in all the document, as you can see below, these descriptions, they need to be in, the font needs to be same and the size needs to be smaller than the headings and the subtitles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this, let's say, to Arial, and I'm going to put the font size down a bit so that it's a bit smaller than the previous headings and subtitles. And as you can see, I've selected different texts and I have left them at the bottom. With this, what you need to do is you need to click Control. Let me show you again. Let's say I've got Control pressed right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press the left click button and I'm going to select this paragraph. Then I'm going to jump over here. I've still got Control pressed and I haven't let it go. Then I'm going to click here again. Right, left click, keep selecting the whole line. Then this will select this line again. Then I'll jump onto this one, select it, and it will select again. I can do this again here, and let's say I need to scroll down. I can let go of Control and the mouse button, and then let's say I need to tweak this section as well. Again, then I'm going to press Control again, left click, select this again. Now, as you can see, because I only selected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before, and this is a new selection I've done, the font has gone blank because these fonts are similar till 5, but the 6th section is different, the size is different, so that's why it's blank, because these two, they don't match. So right now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to go on Arial, click Arial, and let's say 10. Yes, it will change that accordingly. You can use any font you want or any size you need as well going forward. Now, what I'm going to show you is how to change subheadings and give them different formats and so on. As you can see, experience, education, and skills, there are subheadings over here. But like I said, because this document is not formatted, we need to make them look like, headings, because they're not standing out right now properly. Okay, so what we're going to do again is we can either select the font from here, different font, Arial black, Arial narrow, however we want to highlight these sections up to the person. Let's go with Arial. Now, because these are subsections and headings, these need to be a bit bigger so that they're more emphasized than the rest of the text. As you can see, we can use this button just to increase the font sizes and decrease them depending on my preferences, or I can use over here as well the styling sections, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and these are all pre-formatted styles. So when you go to them, you can see this is like a bold version and this is like an italic version of a different text. This is just a simple bold version. But then again, let's say if you wanted to create a bolder text right now, you can see this B button. When I click on it, all these texts go bold. But let's say if I want to remove it, I can just click on it again. Let's say if I wanted to make them with italics, then I just click on the I button and you can see it italicizes the text. And if I don't need them underlined, I just click on this button, it underlines them. Click on it again, it removes them. Same with the italic and the bold button. Let's say we needed to change the colors. Here's a palette of colors that you can pick whatever feels your fancy. You can see we've got all different shades, but let's say we can't find some color we're looking for, then you can just go on more gradients and you can see it gives you a whole palette that you can select, increase the brightness, decrease it, whatever color you want, you can have a pick from here. Let's say I'll just make it a bit green, let's say, and we highlight it to show that these are subheadings. Also, we can use bullet points. Bullet points are just numerical values that we can give so that we can show different side of headings by numbering them or just pointing at them that they are going to be highlighted below down as bullets. Let's say if you see these ones, you click on there, you see this adds 3 bullets to these headings as I've got these headings selected. If I had selected these headings, it would have put a bullet point on all this text and that would have just disoriented it. But we didn't. So that's it. We select the headings we need to select. And if you want to give them a bullet point or a numerical value, we select those and then we click on this button, or we can click on the one next to it which will give it 1, 2, 3, a numerical value. So I've removed it now. If you click on the button next to it, you can change the bullet, what it looks like. It can be a dot, it can be a hollow point, it can be a square, it can be this tricolor thing, a triangle, whatever you fancy, you can pick and select it from here. And you can use numerical values or in a different setting as well. 1, 2, 3, ABC, small ABC, you name it. And same way, if you want to remove it, you just select it and then remove it. Now, as for the text below, as you can see, the orientation of this whole document is to the left. As you can see, it's aligned to the left with this button. Let me show you. For this, we will need to select the whole document if you want to change the alignment of the whole document. Right now, it's aligned to the left. Let me show you what it will look like if we align it to the center. This way, everything is more centrally aligned and things will start from the middle and keep going. If you fill in the whole line, then it will only come. But let's say if you have short text, it will come right in the middle, as you can see. Select it again. Let's say we want to have a right alignment. With the right alignment, everything shifts to the right completely, and you can use it if this is what you want to use. But normally, most people use the center and the left bit as well. But depending on the document, if you're creating a new document or something unique, you might want to use the right one. Anywho, any questions up till now?
Nothing in the chat panel at the moment, right here. So I'll keep the notes on there. Guys, if there's anything you perhaps want Rahib to go through or you don't quite understand and you want to mention it in the chat, or if you've got a question, just put it into the chat. And it may be you may have challenges with Word that you perhaps don't know how to overcome. So even though it may not be covered now, you can still enter a question in the chat and we'll try and get that answered as well. Okay, Rahib, over to you.
Thank you, Salim. Okay, let me show you how to add document references using the same document. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give these headings pointers 1, 2, and 3. And let's say we go into references, as you can see. Table of contents. When you click on the table of contents, you can see there's an automatic one and there's a manual one. If you click on automatic, one second. These are headings. But yes, another thing is make sure your heading is identified. In that sense, if you want to make an automatic table of contents, then you would need to work with the automated stuff with Microsoft Word because it will pick it up directly from what it has saved in itself. But if you want to work on a manual table of charts and you're working on a manual document, you're editing it yourself and you're writing it yourself, then you would need to edit it in the reference section as well, because that way it will not pick it up accurately as it should have, and then you would need to go back and edit it again. Oh. Okay, give me a second. Table of content. Okay, sorry guys, because I'm using the auto-save template for a CV, that's why this is not picking it up. But let me delete this and open up a new template actually. Give me 1 second, I need to close it and then open up a new one.
just whilst Rahib sorting that out, if any of you have got specific issues on Word, I'm not sure how often you're using Word, but if you are using Word, like myself as well, you may come across a lot of things that you just wish, is there a short way of doing this, or is there a different way of doing this, or a quick way of finding something? Just post it into the chat and we'll try and go through it with you as well.
Okay. Can you see my screen again, guys?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay, let me just look at. If you open Word and on a file, you'll see new and you'll see these templates. These are basically Microsoft Word templates, and they're mostly from Microsoft. And if you click on more templates, it's going to open a whole new panel below. Another thing is some of them are from Microsoft and some of them are like third-party ones, and they are available here as well. Just to be careful, if you're downloading a third-party template, it's better to scan it for security because it's not from Microsoft, and Microsoft won't take any responsibility or liability just in case it is affected with a virus or a malware. Just for that. Hello? Hello? Salim, can you hear me? Yes? Hello?
Hi, Rahib.
Oh, I thought I got disconnected. Okay. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. So as you can see, it's just a physical storage over here. Like you can have templates for cards, flyers, letters, resume covers, business reports, school reports. It's quite varied. Let's say if we click on flyers, it will give us an idea of roughly what kind of different templates we have. And these will be, let's say, a missing cat flyer or summer party flyer. If you're starting something, lawnmower for sale, anything. And they have a lot of stuff in here. Let's take a party invitation one. If you can see, if you click on it, it will ask you to create. And once you click on create, it will download the template. And as you can see, it's pretty standard, no information that much. You would need to tweak it. As you see, we've got a heading over here. And then this is the title, Tropical Party. As you can see, it moves on to the next box on the styles bit. And then again, add a host. And like you can see, these brackets, you would need to edit this information. Let's say if this is the format you wanted to keep and you didn't want to change anything, that would just delete these bits, and then change it. One thing you can do is, let's say you're editing a document and you don't know if you want to change it or not. It will have. Just read a question about WordPad. WordPad will have similar features, but it'll have way less features than Microsoft Word. It will work in the same format. It will look similar, but it will have way less features than Microsoft Word, because WordPad is like Windows based and it comes for free. And for Microsoft Office, everybody needs to pay. That's why they try to keep all those other features in the paid version rather than the free version of WordPad. I hope that helps. Anywho, like I was telling, let's say you wanted to edit this document, but you didn't want to do it right now, and you wanted to, let's say, have a check with someone else, and you wanted to see the information you would need to change. So you can, let's say, select this, again, control, select this in a different line, and you can use the highlight function. This way, you can save it, and it will remind you that you needed to edit these lines, and rest of the text was easy. It comes in very handy when you're doing big documents and you need to edit it and you've got 2 or 3 people working together. That's it. That's it. Really helpful because they can check each other's work as well. Let me undo that. And let's talk about posting links. Okay, let's say you wanted to put a link in here that on your document that would take somebody to your website, or let's say you wanted to put your email address on the Word document so that people could email you. Now, what you can do is that email address bit becomes a hyperlink. A hyperlink is a link that will take you off from Word onto your, let's say, an Internet Explorer, or let's say if you're using Outlook, as your mail program, it will use Outlook to send a mail out. So let's say I put my email address here. You see, as soon as I pressed enter, it changed the color and it's highlighted and there's a line underneath it. And whenever I go on it, it shows me the message mailed to rahib@ratex.co.uk. And let's say if I click it with a Control+click, it will open a new mail. Let me show you. I've just clicked it. Okay. Let me share that screen with you as well. As you can see, it just opened up a new mail message from basically from my info@ratex.co.uk to rahib@ratex.co.uk. And that way I can just straight away send an email to the person who has put in the document if I wanted to communicate with them. Let me close this one now. Open up the. Can everyone see the Word document again? Hopefully, yes. Now, there's another thing. Let's say if you have a document and you want to remove hyperlinks from it, just in case you're not sure where it's come from and you don't know if the links are safe or not, you can go on and you can right click on those links, and it will give you the option to remove a hyperlink or edit hyperlink as well. Let me show you. Let's say if I click remove hyperlink, it will remove the hyperlink. Now this will no longer take me to Outlook and create a new mail to this email address. It's just down here as text. Let's say I wanted to create a new hyperlink here. Now I just put it on my website. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a hyperlink now. See the link option over here? Second from the top, you click on the link option. And as you can see, you can have, let's say you can have the web page stored on your PC as well, if it's an internal network, or let's say if it is an external website, it's not on your work network or your internal office network, then let's say you will just put the address here and then okay, and you can see. Let me change it. Yes. Now, let me show you what happens. As you can see, once I have edited this link, now what I need to do is control and click. Once I do a control and click over here, this is what happens. It opens up google.co.uk straight away. So that's how you can put in links and edit links and basically customize your document so that it can take people away from your document onto the website if you want them to, or communicate with you via email. That is pretty useful. And let me come back to Microsoft Word. Let's remove hyperlink just in case. Has anybody got any questions for this bit?
Hi, Rahib. I'm just coming in here a minute.
Yes.
Is it possible to also show that when instead of putting the full website address or email address, you can simply just put the name website, or please visit website, or please email us, and how you would do that. So it looks a bit more personalized rather than giving away all that information. So if you show both of those options, please, like two different ones, that would be helpful.
Okay, that's fine. Another thing is either way, Salim, that information will still be available to the user, even if you want to hide it. Let's say, let me put it. Okay, let me show you. Let me put Rahib, mail, email Rahib. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to link it. Right. Okay. You see, it will come like this, but
What's about right was, you know, where it's got the text to display.
yeah.
You can just simply change that to email me or visit our website, but it will still go to your email or that website that you want them to go to.
Email me. Like here. Yes.
That's right.
Like you can hide the email bit so people will click on it and get here, but let's say they can still see where it takes them. You see my
That's
point?
it.
So, but yeah, you can change it like in a different way in that sense, but you will need to edit it over here. Doesn't email me, let's say. When I go here, control click again. I don't think you can see the new email, but yeah, it opens up the new email page straight away in that sense.
That's it. And I find that quite helpful, and we use that quite often. So rather than putting a whole email address or a website address, we just say it. You can contact us by email, and then people, when they click on there, it goes to the email address, or
Yes.
visit our website, and then we can do it that way.
Yes.
And someone's asking if that would be okay to do this on a CV.
It would be okay to do this on a CV. It depends on what, like, you know, what field you're in. At the end of the day, like I've seen marketing CVs with people putting a lot of things on their CVs, so that would work really well, actually, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point because when you start looking at CVs, you have to try and reduce everything to 2 pages of A4. And that
Yes.
becomes really complicated when you've got so much information that you want to talk about, but you have to do it in 2 pages. So sometimes you can put a hyperlinks in your CV, and therefore that will do two things. One, it reduces the amount of information you put onto that CV, but it allows people to go from the CV to maybe your website or your Facebook page or something like that, and they can see more information there wherever you're directing them to.
Yes. Plus another bit, if let's say what any of you have like, how have you got big CVs? It's like using these align and different tools to shift them. Let's say if you extend that, these are your printer margins, you can extend them, and this way you will be able to fit in more text on your pages. Just a tip for anybody. I can see a message in the chat. Give me a second.
Yeah, somebody just wants you to go over how do you get to that hyperlink tab again. If you could just cover that again from scratch.
Okay, that's fine. Good. Okay. Let me delete this. Fine. Okay, let's say we're creating an email me option over here. So what we're gonna do is we write down email me. Let me go back. You select it, and let's say, can you see the second option from the bottom? When I right click, it says link, say, and over here on the left, you can see existing file or web page, create a new document, place this document, and at the bottom it says email address. Say text to display, email address, and oh, sorry. Let me actually. As you can see, I've recently used this, so it gives me the option to select this one from the bottom, but let's say I wanted to use a different one, different email address. I could put that in as well, but let's say I'm just going to use my same one. So I'm going to use, I don't know, UK. And I just put OK. Once I click OK, it becomes a hyperlink. And as you can see, when I scroll over it, it says mail to rahib@aritex.co.uk. And if you want to follow the link, you just press Control and you click with it. And that will just take you straight to a new email window where you can draft a new email directly to me from your whatever. Either it can be your Outlook app or your Windows browser, Gmail, Yahoo, whatever is set as your default email provider. That helps. Is there anything else on this bit? Is that it?
Rahib, are you going to cover how to insert images later on?
Yes.
You are, okay, because that might have been helpful here as well, but we'll leave that till later.
I'm gonna do I'm gonna do pictures, tables, and lists all together.
Perfect.
So okay, we're done with this bit. Let's start with the blank document. So, okay, guys, can you see my screen? And we have a blank document here now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna work with some lists, tables, and pictures now. Let's start with a list. Okay, let's say stuff for the bottom. Just random stuff. Shampoo. Conditioner. Toothpaste. From kitchen. Cooking oil. Meat. Milk. Let's say anything bright. Okay, I've just created these two random lists just to work with them so that I can show you guys how we can play around with different lists and tables. Okay, I did mention you before we can add bullet points from these bits. So again, I've already numbered them as well. So that way you can see we have two sort of lists, but they're not exactly lists. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this bit and this bit as these are headings, and I'm going to name them headings over here, as you can see on the style section. This way the document will know that these both settings are headings in that sense. And when I try to, let's say, edit them, it will edit them all together. Let me show you. Okay. Let's say I click on this bottom and I just click heading 1. Now I want this bit to follow this formatting from here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to format painter with this one. Oh, sorry. Did everybody catch that? Let me repeat it. Let's see. Normal. Okay. Basically, when I select this section and I click on heading 1, it will become a heading. But let's say I've got a second heading as well here, and I need this as a heading as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use format printer to copy this formatting. And I will click over here as well as these both are headings. So what it will do is it will copy whatever formatting I apply here to the second heading automatically. This way I won't need to change the setting heading. Whenever I change the first heading, it will automatically change the second one. Let me show you. If I do kitchen 3, sorry. Heading 3, heading 1, yes. And then we do format printer, copy. here as well. It changes here as well. So if you want to change, have a lot of changes in your document, you need to change a lot of headings. In order to it's a big document format, Painter will help you change multiple headings or multiple sections of a paragraph or multiple formattings anywhere in a document altogether. Now let's look at tables. We will go on to insert, and if you can see this table section and the arrow at the bottom, if you click on it, it gives you an analog way to make a table. Basically, what happens is, let's say if I put one by one, it will just give me one box. And let's say if I need 2 boxes, you can see it increases it by 2 over here on the right hand side. Let's say I need a table 7 by 6. I just move the mouse cursor 7 by 6, and we can see 7 rows by 6 columns. And let's say I just need 3 by 5 or 3 by 6. I just move it to where, how, and where I need it. And it will put in the table like this. Once it's put in the table, it will move you to the design section. As you can see in the design section, it's got different colorful designs. And you can just scroll over there and see how it changes and how it formats those charts. Let's say, let me open up the whole box and show you guys how many different designs there are. You can see got tables from different colors with different accents. And then some are for high contrast people. Like, let's say some people have eyesight problems, so they can use the high contrast section as well. And you can use it to whatever filter you like. Let's say orange, it will change it to orange. It's purplish bit. And if you want to keep it simple, black and white, keep it as well here. And let's say I've made a table now, but I wanted to add in a new line on here on top. Can you see this section here? A plus sign. When you scroll over here, when you hover your cursor over here, it's going to pop up. This plus button will help you enter a new row. If I click on it, you can see it will make a new row. You see? So let's say I put in something in here, bike and tire, and let's say car. Now I wanted to enter something in between these two. So I would just go over, click on the plus section, and it will create a new row between these two ones. And let's say I want to delete it. So I'm going to hover my mouse over here, but once you see my cursor change, can you see my normal cursor is yellow, but it goes on to the left-hand side into a white section. Once it gets to that section, you have to click on the whole row, and you will see the whole of the row highlighted. Once it is highlighted, then you can just right click on here and click delete the row. Delete row over here. This way it will delete the row. If you've accidentally added a row, it will just delete it in that sense. Now, let me show you how to move things. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this table, and I'm going to insert a picture. Delete the whole table, not rows, not columns, not one cell. I'm going to delete the whole table so that I get back to the whole document. Now, just going to search a picture, and let's say you want to insert a picture from, let's say, your web browser. Okay, I've just got a random picture over here. What I'm going to do is okay. Yes. Okay. Now I want to insert a picture. I just saved it on my desktop. What I'm going to do here is go on insert pictures. And I'm going to insert picture from this device because I've just saved it on my desktop. do is I just put in this picture. I just downloaded it from my web browser right now. So I put in this picture, and let's say I can see. I'm going to show you basic editing as well. It's a bit too big for my document. Let's say I just need it on the right hand side or somewhere between the text. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this corner, the left hand corner, or I can select the right hand corner as well. But because I want to move it to the right hand side of my document, I'm going to select the left corner. I'm going to left click on here, and then I'm going to move it. As you can see, it will go smaller. The size goes smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, with this option, we can put text within the picture, let's say around the picture, in the picture, however you want it. Let's say we want text between the text with text wrapping. You see the text comes up to it. And let's say if I put delete, the text will keep coming up next to it, but it's not going to merge with the picture. That way, let's say if I wanted to have a picture over here and this section on the side, it will come up next to it, but it's not going to overlap the picture. Let's say, let me show you a different title. We don't need title. It will. This bit of texting works with your pictures, let's say transparent and it's got a white background. If you want the picture and it's superimposed on your text and the picture is very well, then you can use this kind of behind the text kind of option to give it a more of a watermark imagery. Let's say if you have a company and you want your company logo to be on all the documents, you can have the picture and just use text wrapping to have it behind the document. That way people can see it as a watermark as well, this way. But normally people don't use it because it messes up the text, and let's say the alignment can get wrong as well. So text wrapping means text will be around the picture, or it can go through the picture, depending how you want to do it. Are there any more questions?
No, that's quite helpful to know. But the one thing, if you go back before you put the image in, and when you just have the two lists, the bathrooms and the kitchen.
Okay, let me delete it. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. So, say for example, I had that list on my sheet of paper, but I wanted to put that into a table. How would I do that? How would I basically put that? You know, previously you showed a table.
Yes.
The table, but how do I put the content into the table? If you could show that, please.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. Let's say I select these text messages and I click on here as well. Then what I do is I do convert text to table. Then it will ask me, you know, number of columns and whatever number of rows, how it needs to be, fixed column auto fit contents, auto fit windows, separate text paragraph, commas, tabs, others. I have paragraphs there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use paragraph right now, because at the end of the day, it depends how you have basically spaced it out. If you have using a lot of spaces, then you would use tabs. And let's say if the data was divided by commas, you would use commas, because however you put it, that's how it is going to pick it up. Let me show you how it works. When you say paragraph, you see it picks up the paragraph and puts it in a table like this, in that sense. But let's say we had more data, 4, 5, actually, you know what? Tab 5, tab 6. Give me a second, let me show you. Tab 4, tab 6, 8. Okay, these are just the amounts I've put in. Like, let's say somebody bought 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yes. So back to the whole same thing again. We go back to insert. because this table is a bit more tablish, we go back and we say, okay, convert text to table. Then if I have, okay, number of columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it will automatically, and as you can see, because I've just selected this bit, I've used tabs. As you can see, all this data is divided by tabs. Between bathroom and quantity, there are 2 tabs. And quantity and quantity, there's a tab in between them and tab between them. So what the function is going to do is it's going to make cells between these tabs. Let me show you how it works. Bingo. Okay, this one is not aligned properly. So what we can do is we can just manually edit this 4, 5, 6, and delete this bit. And let's say, because there was more space in the front, what we'll do is we'll delete this column. Again, we select this column, right click, we have this option delete. We delete the column over here, delete entire column. That's it. And that it will create this table for us with perfect heading and at the sources at the bottom. And we can delete this bit as well, but up to the guys how they want the tables to be shown. Any more questions?
No, that was really helpful because obviously it shows, it makes it look much more
Neater
for the eye.
Yes.
Yeah, much more neater as well. And then obviously you could change colors to highlight things, make them bold.
Easily. Let's say you wanted a table, and let's say these data are missing. What you can do is you can just highlight this data, these data cells. Oh, sorry. Oh, you have to put something X. You have to put X so that it can show you that these are the other cells blocks that you need to go by and you can review. Let's say if some information is already filled in there, but you're not okay with that and you need it reviewed with someone, then again, you can highlight it. Let's say I've just highlighted this 4. I can save the document and send it to one of my colleagues, and then he can look at it, and then he'll know, these are the ones that he needs to focus on. I'll just change these things. Any more questions?
No, and I suppose, could you also show, and I'm sorry to keep asking, but these are things I know that cause me problems, and I'm thinking if they cause me problems, other people might be thinking the same as well. So, for example, where you can, in one particular cell, you can just highlight the background in a different color, and in another one, show how you just highlight just the text that's in there.
Okay. Let's say I come onto this cell and I want to highlight it completely. As you can see, I've selected the cell, and this is the fill option. It's white right now, but let's say if I make it black, you can see the 5 pops up. Let's say I wanted to make it blue. Let's leave it yellow. So we can fill in we can shade in the whole cell like this way. But let's say you just wanted to highlight the font. Back again, we can use this section of the font, let's say green, dark green, purple. I think purple is not that visible. Let me make it red. Okay, that section as well. And then if you right click again, the small menu pops up again. From here, you can as well change it again, come back. Let's say we change it back to black. Again, the same option, which I showed you right now over here. It is over here as well on the paragraph section. Let's say I've got the cell highlighted again, and we've just made it yellow. Now I want to change it back to white. Change it back to white. Anything else?
Unless it didn't count from anyone else, that was really helpful. Thank you.
No worries. Sure that.
I suppose one other thing, just very quickly.
Yep.
If you've got a list like that, because I sometimes do when I make a to-do list and I've got to remember all the things I've got to do.
Yes.
And then once I've done the thing, what I use is the strikeout. So could you just quickly show how you can tick things off that you've done on the list?
Okay.
So it shows that, and it keeps the other things that you haven't done. So it just helps a little bit around there.
Okay, let's say we go on, okay, we bought 6, 8, and 2, and 4. soap, shampoo, conditioner, whatnot. And we want to strike out these sections as well. Like these are done, these have been ticked off and whatever. One of the options is you can see here, strike through, cross something out by drawing a line through. And on that is a strike through option straight away. It will strike out whatever is written here. Just if we, let's say we didn't have 6, we had a word random. It will strike the word, whatever you wanted. And let's say if you wanted to undo it, you'll select it back again and you again click on this option. It will take the strike off and take you back to how it was.
But if you right, just quickly show it on the list, not on the box, not in the box.
Oh, on the box.
Actual,
okay.
Yeah. So people can see if they've got a to-do list, they've got 10 things they've got to do for the day or 10 things they've got to shop. And then they've collected a few of those things. How do they like strike out? Do they know that's been done?
Okay, so let's say I've selected these 4. Okay, let's do a thing. I've selected milk and bread. We went to the grocery store. We just picked up milk and bread. If we're cooking on meat, what we're going to do is you can come to this font section on the top toolbar and click on this ABC with a line through it. As you can see, it shows strike through. Once you click on it, it will strike through bread and milk, showing us that it has been taken care of and we have bought bread and milk. And that leaves us with cooking oil and meat to pick up. We can pick it up whenever we want to.
Yeah, no, perfect. And I find that really, really helpful as well, because when you've got a big list of things,
yes,
it looks like quite a lot of things to do, but you've probably already achieved half of those things. So it's always helpful to have it there and then just strike out what you've done. So when you go back to it, at least it looks like you've done quite a lot of work that day.
Yeah, and it is easier because once you have struck out, it will just point out the things that are remaining and you can focus on those.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. Any more questions from anybody? Okay, we'll move on to collaboration. Okay, let me close this document and just open up a random one. Okay. Can you see this document 6 I've opened up?
Yes, we can.
The first name and last name. Okay, perfect. What I'm going to show you is collaboration, how to work. Let's say if 2 or 3 people are working and they're reviewing the same document, how you can work together and leave notes for each other and even go back and track those changes and keep following them through. Okay. We will come to review on top of this panel, as you can see. Now, let's say I'm editing this document with one of my colleagues and I need to leave them comments, but I want to change something in here, but I want my colleague to review it and read my comment so that she can think about it and maybe make her own changes or leave me a comment. All I'm going to do is I'm going to come here on the new comment. And let's say, editor title. So then I will leave it here. As you can see now, I haven't edited the document, but I've left a comment on the side stating that this is something that needs to be looked into for the next person who's going to check this document. Now, when they check this document, my comment is going to come up and they can read it and either they can respond to me or, fix it. And once they fix it, they resolve it, they take the comment up and that's it. It's done and edited. This is one of the ways that you communicate with the other person. Let me just delete it. Now, there's another option, and this one is track changes. We will click on track changes, and what we will do is, let's say, company Novartis. Now, let's just say I've put in Novartis over here, one of the pharmaceutical companies. What I did was I wanted to change the company to Novartis, but because right now we are reviewing the document, what it does is with track changes on, every time I make a change.
Sorry, right? Can I interrupt? We still see the document with the bathroom kitchen stuff on it.
Oh, that's that's what I was. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, let me. Okay, can you see this document now? The first name, last name one.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me show you. Okay, one of the ways is leaving comments on this document. Let's say, as you can see, this section, let's suppose I've got an issue with this and I want my colleague to look into it. So what I'm going to do is I want to leave a comment on here, but I don't want to disturb the document and, deface it. What I'm going to do is click on this new comment button. Now, as soon as I click, you can see on the right-hand side, it brings in this pop-up box. And in this pop-up box, let's say, I just put in a note for my colleague, to edit the job title and check the company name. So I've left it there. I'm not going to edit it. I'm going to save the document, keep doing what I want to do. And let's say save it. And then I'm going to send it across to my colleague. Then my colleague, when let's say they're reviewing, when they open this document, my comment is going to come up. Now, once they read my comment, either they can reply to me if, let's say, they can't resolve it or there's some issue, we can talk about it. Or let's say if they can just fix it then and there, then they can just use resolve, edit it, change it, save it, and that's it, done and dusted. Now, another thing is, let's say you have a big document, you've written it down and everything. Now you need to make changes, but then let's say you don't want to lose out what you have written down and you want to be able to review what you're going to change to. So what we do is we come onto this track changes button and we turn on track changes. Okay. I come here, I click on this, let's say this word company, and I want to change this company name to, let's say, Novartis. So I start typing Novartis. Now, as you can see, when I start typing, it didn't overwrite the word company. Instead, it struck it out, and then in front of it, it wrote down Novartis. This shows it's a change that I have done, but it has not been accepted yet. So it's still staying there, but it will keep editing the document that way so that anybody who's going to review it after me can see how and what we have changed it with. So once you hover over here, as you can see, it will show I've inserted Novartis. And let's say when I send it to review, the person is happy with the change, they'll accept it and keep it. But let's say if they're not happy, they can discard it and then go back to the company. Now, so we want to see the markups. So what we do is we come to show markup section and we click on this balloon section, show revisions in balloon. So let's say I've done this bit. What it does is then it will replace company with Novartis, but it's gonna move on to the right-hand side and show what we have deleted on this section. These are two ways to review the changes. Let's say school, I change to college. Primary. Every time I make a change, it will show up on the right panel, showing us what we have deleted and what we have swapped it with, because it's going to highlight it up as an underline and a red color font. Can everybody see this?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Perfect. So this is one of the very useful tools for editing and reviewing documents going forward. Like without even changing it, you 2 or 3 people, they can work together, they can do the changes and send it across to each other. Let's say if this one, I want to accept it, I can just accept it and keep it. It will change it and it will remove it. Now the section from the right-hand side is gone. We've accepted it. Now this bit goes into the final draft. But let's say this change, I don't want to keep it. I'm not happy with it. And I want to change it back to school. I'll reject it. Goes back to school, college button pops up, and it shows that we're not happy. We can just delete the college and back. We have edited the document, accepted the change or rejected the change, depending how we want to carry forward. Any questions?
No. I do find that really helpful because we do have to do a lot of editing on either documents we create or documents that we receive. Sometimes people send us information that they want to put on, say, a website, and we've got to check it for them to
Yes.
make sure it's all correct, or the information is correct, how they spelt something correct, especially names and things like that. So we find this section really helpful.
Perfect.
There's an interesting comment in the chat as well.
What is the
And
best font to use?
yeah, and guys, remember, just keep posting anything you want into the chat. If you don't want to speak up, you can put it into there. So, in terms of fonts, is there a preferred font that you need to be sticking to, or not just even the font, but even the style of the font, but even the size of the font?
Sizes are irrelevant mostly. I don't think anybody will use crazy size because as soon as let's say if you're using odd, very odd size, it will pop up on your document and you'll know it's not looking nice. But for the fonts bit, I can just say one thing. Normally and mostly people use Arial and Calibri because it doesn't look, let's say, non-professional. But it can depend like how you what is the purpose of your document. If you let's say you're presenting a report in a meeting, or you're making a flyer, it's a new marketing gig or something, you want to be bright and boldy, then you can obviously use any different text you want to. But let's say if you want to stick to something serious business, then I would suggest using the simple ones like Arial, Body, like these ones. They're normal and they're easy to use and easy to read. Times New Roman as well. So it will depend what the intention of your use is.
Thank you. So it all depends on whether it's a formal document or an
Or
informal.
non-formal. Yes. It will depend, like who you're approaching, the person. Like with me, it will depend on the kind of client I'm approaching. Let's say they're in a different business, they're into media and something, they're not really bothered about being serious and to the point as a business person they are. So they will be more about graphics and big words and colors. Instead, let's say if I'm dealing with a serious businessman who just runs his business, I will keep it to the point, short and simple.
And we do a lot of documents when we're working with learners, and with learners, especially children. We tend to use Comic Sans as well.
Yes, Comic Sans. Yeah, I remember Comic Sans even when I was in school. Like we would play with Comic Sans because we just used to learn
one for education. It's a preferred one.
Yes, I think it's like when you're a student, everybody loves Comic Sans because it just looks like normal handwriting.
Yeah.
Let me show you. You see?
Yeah, that's it.
So, like you said, it looks a bit casual as compared to Arial, but like you said, I've changed the whole the whole font of the whole document. You can see on the right hand side, it's come up as I've made changes on the document because I've got a reviewing of section on. So every time I make a change, it will show what I've changed. So let me change that.
Makes it look very busy now.
Fine, perfect. Anything else? Okay.
No, I'm just conscious of time as well now, Rahib.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna do a last bit then quickly. I'm just gonna show every one of you mail merge because that's one thing that's asked a lot about. So let me just tell you what mail merge is. Mail merge is basically, let's say you need to send bulk emails and you
CV maybe.
Yes. So basically you just need to send tons and tons of letters and you can't obviously write down all the letters, but let's say you have a list of addresses and the names of people. So what you can do is with a mail merge setting, you can use the same document, but it will print it off for every single person that you have in your address list. Let me show you how it works. If you can see, I would need to edit the document a bit actually. Okay, let's start with mail merge. What we do is we're going to do a step-by-step mail merge. And as you can see over here on the right-hand side, it gives you the option letters, email messages, and lists, labels, directory, depends what you're working on. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on letters, and then we're going to move on to the next section, starting a document. Yes, once I click on the next bit, starting a document, it brings me to this section with three options. Use the current document, start from a template, start from an existing document. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this document that I'm working on, because that's the one we're using in this example. So I select the first option, and then I click next. And then it asks me if I want to use an existing list or contact from my Outlook, or I want to type in a new list. Let's say we want to type in a new list. Then, okay, once you click on type a new list, there's an option over here that says create type a new list. Create. Once you click create, it will ask you these details for these people. Let's say Mr. A. Bob 123 Limited 12 Short Street, London. Okay, and let's say we want to add a new entry again. Mr. B. Cat. And let's say company name. Limited. Again, and random address 45. Street, London. Okay, let's say I've added these two people that I want to send this letter out to. Obviously, they can be more, but we can obviously fill in here if we have a lot of more people, but I'm just going to use these two. What happens is we can populate these fields with the details and then click OK. Just save that as an example. Now, different list. It's an existing list. Again, once we have saved that list, the options change over here, as you can see. When we're typing a new list, it again shows us create a new list. But right now, as you can see, I just saved those two people's name in a new list. So I can use existing lists, okay, from here. So that is why we're going to go back and let's say select a different list. This is the one, e.g. That's the one we use. So these two, again, they come up as we named them A Bob and B Cat. Just double check, let's say, anything or any information that you need is not missing or it's not corrupted before we actually want to complete the whole process, just in case, because let's say if you're sending 20 or 30 letters, you don't want to check it afterwards if the addresses or they're missing something or you've forgotten something afterwards. Okay. Okay. And then we click on the next section. Next, write your letter. You can see there's four options: address block, greeting line, electronic postage. What we're going to do is we're going to use address block over here. Let me show you one thing. As you can see, I've left my cursor over here so that when I go to the address block section and I click on it, it's going to post the address section here for all of them, because it's going to copy this letter onto the next page with the same formatting, and it's going to paste the second letter, second address over here as well. Let me show you. And these are options, let's say, how you want your address to come across as. You can change it. Mr. A Bob, the Bob family, different bits. And let's say we select this bit. So as you can see, the address block comes here. And let's say I want to enter a greeting line. Dear Sir, Madam, blah, 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 blah. Dear Mr. Bob. Or we can make it to whomever it may concern, dear Sir, Madam. And again, over here, these sections, you can have different combinations of different side of, different combinations with names and things. Let's use Mr. Wendell, dear 2, Mr. Bob, greeting line here. So as you can see, this way, we'll have a generic greeting line and an address block coming onto every letter, but with different names and different addresses, depending on the person we're sending it out to. And has anybody got any questions?
No, I think that's really, really helpful, and it just shows that there's lots of different ways we can improve the features and save time and show more creativity in what we're doing. So I'm just conscious of the time. So what we're going to do is if we, if we wrap this up just for now.
This is almost done.
Say again.
This is almost done. I'm just going to end this letter and I'm going to show how it's comes out as. So, okay, let me show you. Again, we just go into next preview of the letters. You see Mr. A Bob.
Perfect. Yeah.
Mr. A Bob comes here and then to Mr. A Bob comes here. Now, when I click the next window, okay, let me show you the second person as well. So you can see here recipient 1, recipient 2. So you're just checking it's all working fine. Yep, Miss B, cat, whatever. Then the next section is next, complete the merge. And this gives you the, in the last bit, option to print or edit individually. If we let's say print, it's gonna print all the letters we are gonna print. Let's say if I had like 30 odd people in my address, it will print 30 addresses with all their names, addresses, and different readings.
Perfect. Yeah, that's really helpful, especially if you're doing like CVs, which we're getting a lot of requests for. People applying for jobs, etc. And you need to send the same letter or the
again and again
cover letter. Absolutely. So you can have this spend the time just to format that one letter, and that address can change as many times as you want to by click of a button. That's really helpful there.
Thank you, Celine.
Great. Okay, so we'll wrap this up today. Sorry we have overrun, but what we'll do is we'll end the recording. I know there are a couple of people who are staying on this recording, so if you just hang on whilst we close everything down, and then we'll see you in a couple of minutes' time as well. So from myself and Rahib, I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to pause the recording now. So thank you very much, everybody.